Hey, what's up, man?
How you doing?
Good. How are you? Thanks for jumping on.
No problem.
Hell yeah. I'm Travis. I'm the host of Property Profits. And who are you? What do you do? All that good stuff.
So my name is Troy Kearns. I am from Seattle, Washington originally. Spent 28 years there. Moved to Vegas when I was 28 years old. Spent 15 years in Vegas. Grew up dirt poor. Always wanted to be rich. Moved to Kansas City about 3 years ago. Pretty much climbed my way from out of the poorhouse into a better situation through investing in rental properties. And basically started as a sales guy at Intercom Radio in Seattle, Washington. Then had the rug underneath me as becoming the number one sales guy. And so at that point in time, decided I wanted to move to Las Vegas. And I said, I'll get my real estate license. The worst time to get your real estate license in Las Vegas in the height of the economy crash in 2006. I ended up buying two properties that almost took me under. And so I bought those two properties that almost took me under and then kind of held on to them, figured a way out, and started selling a shit ton of REO properties back in the day and then ended up turning those all into wins. And so now I currently have about 350 properties. Most of them don't have debt on them. And now I'm teaching other guys how to do the same thing through the methods that have got me to where I'm at. It's kind of a snapshot there. Travis?
That's a cool story, dude. And thanks for sharing it. And you said you bought two properties and they almost took you under. What'd that look like? Like what kind of debt did you use and why did they almost take you under?
Great question. So, Travis, prior to doing that, I had bought two properties, one like what is called now house hacking, which I just thought was good to rent your room out. So I was bought one condo, the only thing I could afford, $112,000, bought that working at Red Robin at the radio station. And then I house hacked that one. Then I bought another one, which is like a live-in flip where I did the work myself and had my uncle teach me what to do. And I didn't even know what I was doing in terms of ARV or anything like that. And so after that, I figured I had everything figured out. My cousin was living in Las Vegas. He's like, man, the market is going crazy over here. Everybody's making tons of money. The values are just going up. I didn't know anything about real estate, like cash flow. I'm like, oh, if it's going up, read the paper. Paper says, oh, it's going up. So I, find a realtor to sell me houses. They're going to sell you houses. So I bought a condo for 184,000, got a loan, guys give me a loan. So I'm like, cool, that's great. Get a loan. And, and I'm like, well, they don't cash flow. He's like, yeah, but it doesn't matter. Cause you sell it in two months, it's worth like $50,000 more. I'm like, well, that makes sense. And then, so bought another house for 310,000, never had been built, bought the dirt. I'm like, yeah, I'll do that one again too. I was so worried about losing my earnest money, which was $5,000. Even though I knew probably it wasn't the right decision, I just went forward with it. Ended up renting that house out for $1,200. Mortgage payment on that one was $1,300 or $2,500 a month just to break even. So I'm losing $1,300. Same thing on the other one. So total, I was losing like $25 a month just before I woke up. Before repairs, before property management, just negative, losing that a month. And so when I'm making money, and it kind of had to backtrack a little bit, at that point in time, I had a drinking problem too. So even though I was top sales guy, I definitely was top booze guy too. And they don't always go hand in hand, but that time it did. And so I was like, man, how do I get out of this? And everybody's short selling, foreclosing, letting their properties go. And that was what I wanted to do. But I knew that wasn't the right thing to do, number one. And number two, I knew that eventually I'd have to sit next to a banker and have a conversation. And so I had to think my way out of it. I just kept thinking. So I moved back to Seattle from Vegas, couldn't get a job in Seattle, took a job back at the radio station. They gave me $100,000 guaranteed. I was making $215,000 the year before. And then I just got all these REOs. So I was working from Seattle in Las Vegas. So I'm selling radio advertising and I'm an agent in Vegas. So I cut a deal with the broker that I'd worked with. And so I'm making like basically 25% of every deal because of my REO business. He's making 75%. And I've got this $100,000 a year job. I start to claw my way out of it. I start flying to Dallas, Texas, get more REO accounts. 8 months in, I'm not even thinking about this radio job. I'm getting back down to Vegas. And then I become the number one agent in Vegas for from 2009, sold 2,200 homes. And bought a crap load of homes, made a ton of mistakes, but haven't stopped since.
Man, that's cool. It kind of sucks that, the way agents are, because I just had a story and you got to get paid, right? So I don't know how to fix that problem, but, you had an agent telling you just buy it, equity, this and that, and it almost kicked your ass, but you're resilient and, it didn't. But a lot of people, it does.
Yeah.
I just met with a lady the other day. I do a lot of RV parks, mobile home parks, residential too, but more
Nice.
focused on that stuff right now. That the brokers they sell pro forma, right? They sell the dream.
Yeah.
And she bought this thing.
Sizzle, not the steak.
Yeah, she had the dream. And, she bought this thing $250,000 high because it's commercial. So it's not like, and she's like freaking out. And so I'm trying to help her creatively right now. But this broker, is like, oh, it's going to be this and that. Don't worry about it. But just to reiterate your point, that sucks, man. And
Hey,
anybody,
I mean, I went in there like, the guy who sold them to me is still good friends. And to be honest with you, I go, would you buy it? He goes, yeah. And he bought a bunch of them and he lost them. And he tried to sell me another one. And I was like, nah, I mean, that one's nicer than anything I have. And, but yeah, I mean, if you're going to buy it, people are going to sell it, right?
yeah. And well, for agents listening to this, I know REO business back then was just booming. I know a lot of people that crushed. How is it these days with that type of business?
Travis, I gave up my license 3 years ago. It was the best thing I ever did. I had an identity crisis. I kept waiting for that crash to come back. Like I made so much stinking money from 2009 to 2012. I just kept waiting. When is it coming back? When is it coming back? And it really held me back. And then I realized, I'm like, dude, I got a ton of properties. I mean, like I've been flipping for years. Why am I still chasing these commissions? I gave my license back so I don't have to disclose no more. And yeah, I haven't looked back. My wife still got her license in Nevada if I needed to do anything, but I don't. Yeah, I'm just full-time real estate investing. I started coaching people about 2 years ago as well.
Yeah, that's smart. One of y'all has it, you don't. I like that move.
I don't want to disclose everything all the time. I'm a license held to a higher standard, all that jazz.
Yeah, you want to do innovation or anything. You're very, very fine line.
Yeah.
So you teach people, you said something super interesting. You've got over 300 properties with no debt. How'd you do that?
I say no debt. I said many of them with no debt, most of them with no debt. I
Okay.
would guess my LTV is somewhere around, I don't know, 20% overall. And that's because I got some, like I own this building right here, which is a 96,000 square foot skyscraper in Kansas City, 11 stories. Doesn't cash flow. I'm losing money on it. But so I'll tell you. So I was like, I went from like gambling and making all these moves, right? To like, oh, I'm scared. So it was like the houses were so damn cheap at the time. My math was, as I told you, I had $2,500 a month that I had to bridge the gap on. So I'm like, I'm starting to make some money now. There was a house for sale for $20,000 or 19,000 bucks in a very bad area. And I was like, how much would that rent for? 100. I'm like, okay, I need 3 of those houses and I'm almost even. So I bought 3 houses like that for cash. And then I'm like, well, why don't I just keep going? And so I just kept going. And then I bought fourplexes and these ones and that ones. And then I learned the hard way about property management, right? Like I'm like, because then I was making so much money. I had a property manager that would just they got first month, they're in, right? And then, so we learned that way. So a lot of hard knocks learning, but has taught me to be an excellent real estate investor. So that's how I clawed my way out.
If you were to teach, well, you do teach. So I will bring this up. So you mentor people, a lot of people from your programs and things, and they don't have this education. So it's cool that you do that and they don't have to go through that and navigate their own trail. But how do you start them out?
Travis, that's a great question. I would say like everybody's different, right? So like I had a guy just join the other day. His name's Devin Stubbs. He's out of North Palm Beach, Florida. And like he wanted a money back guarantee. He didn't trust anybody. He's worried about me being a scammer, all that jazz. I'm like, listen, man, I'll give you a money back guarantee. And he closed his first deal, got paid 83 days, 50,000 bucks on his first flip. Now, on that deal, Devin had money, right? Like Devin was a guy who had money but he wanted to use a hard money loan. I'm like, listen, you got money in the stocks, pay for it with cash. I know it doesn't compute, but you'll make a bunch of money in this deal. You'll build your confidence. And once you do this deal, nothing will be the same with you because you'll have the proof of concept and you'll have that. So for him, it was very easy because if somebody comes in with good credit and willingness and just needs guidance and confidence, I can really help them. So if somebody who is brand new, never done anything, I would say, man, start with pre-foreclosures. Start like becoming a wholesaler. But if they've got money, I'm going to start them on a flip. If they got money and credit, I'm going to start them on a flip because that's the fastest way to get into the game. And if they're trying to wholesale, they're going to get burnt out, right? Like if somebody's trying to wholesale, they should be no money and fresh, right? Like because they're going to burn out. Like people don't have the way to go through that. If somebody's like, hey, I'm just looking to be passive, I'm going to say, go do an investment out of state because like forget about putting the $50,000 down on an investment. Buy it for cash and have no debt, have no mortgage, but have access to that money in the markets that I invest in.
So I think that's a cool principle, starting people out that have money that way. I mean, I have a different opinion on debt, but it doesn't matter because what's cool about your strategy is they're not going to appreciate it if they go just borrow and get this 100% loan. And it's like, I like that because they're putting all that skin in the game, and I haven't thought about it that way. I think that's a badass strategy.
Well, I think that to your point, I think a lot of people have a different opinion about debt until they face times that I faced. Okay. And like when you face those times, your opinion about debt changes. And so listen, I've got lots of millions of dollars worth of debt, but you know, for the way I stack my checkerboard, like why would I go and like I take on debt on things that are going to give me tax advantages. I take on debt on flips. I take on debt on other things, but on rentals, why would I take on debt? For me, it doesn't make sense when I can buy a house for cash and then leverage that and have a less mortgage, less insurance, less other things, and less stress.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. And like I said, for like newer people, I like the skin in the game. I just like that for them to appreciate the money they put in. So what's your plan now? Like what's the new chapter? You know, you're doing coaching, you got all this going on. So what's next, man?
It's a really great question. So as you know, as a real estate investor, Travis, like you're always broke. I don't care. I don't care if you're the richest real estate investor or you're the poorest real estate investor. You are always broke because the way to grow your business is to reinvest in real estate. And after having a lot of young, smart guys like the Mathis twins come to my masterminds and seeing these guys raise like $30 million in private capital, I realized my pride and ego have been in the way of me being able to raise capital. And so number one, I'm going to start with the EB-5 visa program, which is a great program for people who want to immigrate to the United States, that they can come there and it allows them to buy their way into the United States by investing in real estate. So the nice thing about that is it's 800,000 minimum investment to 1 million to get in. So I'm going to start a VSL and a landing page to start attracting myself with attorneys and people trying to immigrate to the United States. That's one thing I'm going to be doing. And I'm going to start raising a lot more private capital and start doing more strategic relationships versus less hard work. I still grind it out, man. And I like it. I'm a kind of an idiot that way. I still, you know, I mow my own lawn and do stupid crap like that. Just I think it's ego driven sometimes. So I'm really trying to, I'm 6 now. I want to start leveling up. I want to take a company public. And I believe by starting my own fund, by doing these types of things, that's going to allow me to take my company public and get to the next level. Because I've been doing this stuff for a long time. It's really easy for me. And it's just buying another bigger property, filling it up, buying another bigger property, filling it up. So yeah, I'd like to eventually take a company public is my goal and buy a basketball team or a football team.
That's awesome, man. It's funny, two things you mentioned. You know, Nicole said the other day, like, where are you putting all the cash? Because, you know, we were like making sales and doing stuff. I'm like, I'm not putting the cash anywhere. Like I'm paying everybody. I'm paying everything, you know, but it's funny because like people see from the outside and you said that. And I like that you bring that up because people are like, I'm going to be just rich, you know, and you will be, right? You keep doing, but like if you're putting it back in the business and the properties and, you know, you got to. So
Well,
I like that.
my wife's like, well, I just want to chill. I'm like, if you want to chill, tell me. Because all I got to do is I fire everybody. My payroll goes down like to nothing, right? I can manage my own books. And then like, yeah, it's pretty much easy. And I sell a few problem properties and there's nothing to do. And I could sit around with you and like look at each other. But I'm still trying to get after it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so if you're still trying to get after it, you got to reinvest in yourself and into your things. And you got to make risky moves because that's how you grow. Like this building for me was a big risk move. It's forcing me to think, forcing me to figure out the problems, the solutions, and maybe like, oh, my first strategy ain't going to work. Maybe I got to partner up with somebody who knows how to get through this a little bit better. You know, it's just all part of learning.
Yeah. And then the raising private money thing, you know, we see eye to eye because like I've never raised private money. You know, I go get a lender, I get a badass deal. I got somebody that'll give me I used to do loans back in 2000. You know, but anyway, so I'm pretty badass at negotiating those things so I could get money for deals, private money, you know. But I got buddies, they got big funds, you know, and they're like, bro, just raise money. And I don't know what the mental block is, you know, and I'm just like, I don't
It's just
want
new, right? It's just like you haven't done it. You know what? You know when it really hit me? We were just in Europe and I got in late. I do my coaching call. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning. And I finished my coaching call. I'm like, I want something to eat. So I go into the bar and they're like, kitchen's closed, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, man. And these people, like, they must have heard me talking in the lobby to people because they go, what do you? And there were these Indian doctors that were from the United States. And this is in Portugal. Okay. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just rapping with them. They're like, we'll give you money. And I'm like, oh, well, shit. I just see like, they're like, we know, you know what you're doing. And I'm like, okay, I just need to start using the digital marketing that I've learned, using all the other stuff I learned and start getting people in a room versus trying to raise money for people who don't have money online, get people who do have money, who don't have time and use my skill set and start raising money. So
That's all.
it's just starting, right? We've never done it before. And so when you like when I did my first mastermind, I'm like, I don't know if anybody's gonna show up. It did, and now more people show up. So I just gotta start.
Yeah, we had tickets sold and I went door knocking. Even that day, I was like, nobody's gonna show up. So I got up that morning, I was like knocking on doors, knocking on mortgage companies. Hey, do y'all want to come for free? I'll give you a ticket. I don't know if anybody's coming to this thing.
People don't know how stressful it is to put on an event and to,
Yeah.
even no matter how good of a price you give, no matter how many speakers you have, no matter what lineup it is, people just don't believe that you're going to have a good event.
Yeah. Yeah, man. But yeah, thank you for coming on. We'll do Nicole's only one here today, so Q&A is going to be short. Nicole, what you got?
How are you doing? It's nice to have you on. Not a lot of investors are very straightforward and truthful in what they say, so it's nice. Everyone's always showboating their numbers, and I made this much and that much, and it's just
I can tell you my losses if you want to get into those.
I guess my question would be is what is your favorite asset class and why?
Yeah, I mean, I would say so. My favorite asset class is a single family house, like period, end of story, just because it's easy, right? Like it's easy to get into, it's easy to get out of. Everybody understands it. A family wants to live there, they're going to stay there a long time. In any bad area of the world, the country, I can always rent it out. A bank's probably going to give you the loan on it. There's a million exit strategies to get into it. I could Airbnb it. I could, there's so many different strategies. That's my favorite asset class. My favorite strategy is probably buying properties subject to. I love pre-foreclosures. That's the most thrilling part of real estate because it's the fastest and it's the most enjoyable, solving the problem. If there's people who are like dead, I got to find the errors. If there's like buying it with like, I just enjoy really the drama of that whole process.
Oh yeah, I like that. Yeah, I'm looking to sell some rentals. I have sub two right now for a park deal. So
That's
I'm
good.
like, yeah, I'm like, I'm gonna be the one selling them sub two this time because I don't want to go through the market. The market's kind of weird. I was like, I gotta sell them for what I want. Sub two to a good person.
For sure, 100%. And I'll tell you what, the RV park is a moneymaker. We went through before we moved to Kansas City, I rented an RV and drove here twice. And I saw, so I look at everything like a business. I'm like, oh, let me look at these RV parks. This is before anybody was even doing that during COVID. And I was like, there's actually a property I'm looking at in Mississippi. I haven't bought it yet, so you can take a look at it, but it is the perfect RV park. It is this, I've done the video on it a few times. It's like this 173 square foot cat food manufacturing warehouse on the water in Biloxi by all the casinos. And you could probably park, I don't know, maybe 1,000 RVs on this place. You got fishing right there. Like that. I love that business model. I looked at several RV parks. I think it's a great business model. So if you're into that, I love that business model.
Oh yeah, people are fire selling right now.
Are they?
I mean, I say that. Okay, I say that you can't go to the brokers. The broker, they're selling the dream. I call all the expired list.
No, what location are you guys at?
I'm in Texas. She's in Arizona, but I'll buy anywhere. But right now I'm buying one in like 40 days. I mean, it's a small one, but it's approved up to 110 units. It's mobile homes and RVs. $3 million appraisal. I'm getting it for 1.9, 100% financing. Badass deal. Cash flows already really well.
Oh, you can't ask for more than that.
It's just from calling expired and talking like good old boy to owners, like, hey, I'm looking to buy a part, how much you making? This is what I could pay you. You want a whole paper? But you call the brokers like, man, this thing in 50 years is going to be awesome.
Brokers screw up so many freaking deals, man. It's on their egos alone. Like, I'm not gonna submit that offer. That's too low. Okay.
Yeah. I stopped talking to brokers. But yeah, man, thank you so much. It was great meeting you. It's great having you on the show. Whenever we get these clips and stuff, we'll send them to you. And yeah, man, hope we can talk some more.
Sounds good, Travis. Appreciate it, brother.
Hey, brother.
See ya.